Hey guys, Song here. Today we are going to talk about, are you subject to service tax? First test, check with the customs whether you already automatically registered. Now how do we do that? Just go to this website, mysst.customs.gov.my. On the upper right hand side, click registration status and key in all the details. At the same time, you also want to check whether you are under this MSIC code for within the taxable service scope. All the tests, all the tutorials has already been discussed in the last video. You can check out our sales tax video in facebook.com/SQLEstream. Go through these details and you will know how to check it. Those that attended my course, this is some updates for you. Now first, hotel, inns, lodging houses, service apartment, homestays is subject to service tax for within the category of hotel. Threshold is 500,000. For F&B, restaurant inside or outside hotel is subject to a threshold of 1 million. This is an update. Previously it's 500,000, now it's 1 million. And it talks about all this eat and take away, your catering services, your mama, your restaurant, your hawkers, your coffee houses, your cafes is subject to service tax. Number 5, talk about nightclubs. So those that fall within the entertainment, nightclub, dance hall will subject to service tax. A new thing that came out is talking about health wellness center or any massage parlor is subject to service tax. Private club is subject to service tax. There's no clear definition what is private club, but if we make reference to Group E of the existing service tax 1975, it talks about any sport and recreational club, your massage services, or any premises for meetings or promotion of culture or fashion shows. So we will just have to wait until there's a clearer definition of private club. 7 talks about golf club is subject to service tax, 500,000 threshold. 8, private hospital is now not subject to any service tax, which is good. 9, insurance, any general insurance or takaful B2B and general insurances were subject to service tax except for any medical insurance, or any transport of passenger outside Malaysia is not subject to service tax. Any telecommunication and paid TV is subject to service tax, including Astro, Hit TVs, or iFlix, for example. 11, customs agent is subject to service tax. Anything that you clear out from customs will subject to service tax. Advocates and solicitors, lawyers will subject to service tax. Public accountants, including bookkeeping services, audit services, will subject to service tax. Surveyors, including registered valuers, appraisers, estate agent, which is new, is subject to service tax. Professional engineers, engineer consultation, or any professional services will subject to service tax, 500,000. Architectural services will subject to service tax, including the professional consultation services. Management services, which we discussed, probably that time we discussed whether management fee intra-group will subject to service tax, but if you look at the scope now, it's slightly narrowed down. It says only those that are related to project management or project coordination is subject to service tax, and it excludes any JMB or management committee. Consultancy will subject to service tax, exclude those that fall within R&D company, and anything that's related to medical or goods or land outside Malaysia. Employment agency, for example, you are a headhunter, will subject to service tax. Private agencies, let's say I'm a provision of guards, I provide guards, security guards, will subject to service tax. Parking operators will subject to service tax. Motor vehicle service, which is a big thing, will subject to service tax. Now previously we discussed whether goods were subject to service tax. Now if you look at this taxable service, it only talks about general servicing, engine repairs, tuning, changing, adjusting and fixing of parts. 23, courier services will subject to service tax. 24, higher-end drive car, those that license under any land, public transport commission, commercial vehicles, tourism vehicles will subject to service tax. Veterinary is not a taxable service. Advertising will subject to service tax. Anything that you advertise for a company or clients, billboards for example, will subject to advertising services. Credit card will subject to service tax. What we know now is 25 ringgit per card, regardless whether you are main card or sub card, is going to be 25 ringgit. 28, anything that is related to betting, gaming providers, for example, Genting Highland, will subject to service tax. 29, transmission and distribution of electricity provider for the first 600 kilowatts will be exempted, subsequently will subject to service tax for any domestic consumer usage. 30. Any airline operator which is providing domestic passenger air transportation service will subject to service tax. 31. IT services will subject to service tax but exclude any sale of goods or anything that is related to goods or land outside Malaysia. Services that we discussed from number 12 to 17 will exclude from taxable service as long it is related to goods or land outside Malaysia or any statutory fees paid to government or statutory body. Test number 3 is of course to test whether you have 500,000 on this sales value of prescribed services or taxable services. Going through this list, have you identified whether you are a service tax registered person? If you like our video, give us a thumbs up, share it, and I hope to see you in the next one.